Good morning. Before we start our Spirit Quest portion of the service this morning, I would like to say thank you. Thank you to you for the things I've been noticing about us, those with attachments to St. Andrew's. Thank you for the many candles you have burning in your hearts. You have been putting wonderful, talented, and amusing videos online for others to enjoy. You've been calling neighbors, friends, and members of our congregation to check in and make sure they are okay. You've been buying groceries and doing errands for others. You've been driving people to necessary appointments. You've been donating to the food bank, to the Stronger Together Fund, and to those you know who need a helping hand. You've responded to those suffering from the aftermath of that terrible 18th and 19th of April weekend. You've been preparing meals for others who are lonely. You've written beautiful cards and emails. You've reached out where you could. You have shared, and you have prayed. Truly, I tell you, whatever you did for one of the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did for me. Bless you all. Our song today does not have traditional church service lyrics, but we're talking about rainbows in Spirit Quest and promises. So we couldn't resist a rainbow song. May rainbows remind you of the Christian's promise to love one another as God loves us. This song is called I Can Sing a Rainbow.
Red and yellow and pink and green, purple and orange and blue. I can sing a rainbow, sing a rainbow, sing a rainbow too. Listen with your eyes, and sing everything you see. You can sing a rainbow, sing along with me. Red and yellow and pink and green, purple and orange and blue. Now we can sing a rainbow, sing a rainbow too.
Good morning. I hope everyone's fine today. I'm here on a nice sunny day. And it was really quiet, and I'd say 2 to 3 neighbors just decided to mow their lawn. So hopefully you'll hear me. So I have in my hand a prism today, and I'm out in the sun, and I can see little rainbows all over the lawn, the doorstep, and you probably can't, but you can see that it does shine. And it's something that's happened maybe with your watch in class. You've tried to distract people. Maybe it's happened with a glass of water or something you've had. So it makes the colors of the rainbow, which as we know are red and orange, and yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. The rainbow's also our Spirit Quest. It's also our Spirit Quest symbol. And I have a bottle here of clear water. You'll probably notice that. And I'm going to take some colors, just these colors here, and put them behind it. And it's supposed to, I don't know if you can tell it or not, but the turn and the angle, you can see all the colors, but it refracts it, makes it a little bigger, and it just catches the angles. So we're going to do a lot of science experiments this morning. We're going to make some slime, and we're going to watch some candies melt and do a few different things. But I'm not a great scientist, so I have to read this. So what happens with science? A rainbow only happens when the sunlight is coming from behind and is low in the sky. As the sunlight shines into a curtain of raindrops in the air in front of you, only one color from each droplet will refract at the exact angle necessary to directly reach your eye. A beam of light turns when it enters a glass prism, like I did, and that's what it is. So it bends the light, and each beam hits our eyes at a different angle, and we see a different color. So the reason we're talking about this is because of promise and what things remind us of and what they can represent. Last week we talked about candles, and I hope you did make your candle and put it in the window, and I will show you mine. It dried really beautifully, and I'm wishing now I'd used the colors of the rainbow so I could use it today, but I'll show it to you, the kids, later. And the story of Noah and the ark, when everything was ready that they could return to the land and the flood had abated, God made a promise, or what's called a covenant, that there would be no more floods. And he asked the people, or God asked the people, to make a promise in return that they would look after the earth and take care of the earth and each other. So I'm going to tell you a story now. We'll be reading the story of Noah in a few minutes, but I'm going to tell you the story about maybe, it's fictional, but maybe the point of view of the colors when they're up, before colors were seen, before the rainbow was seen. So apparently the colors were children colors, and there was black and white and red and orange and yellow and green and blue and indigo and violet, and they all went to school and they played and they got into mischief, and they were just regular kids. It reminds me a little bit of now, because a lot of children are sleeping in really late, and the black color and the white color really like to sleep in, and apparently they needed extra sleep because they did a lot of mischief, even more than the others. So they were always late for class, they were late for parties, they were late for all sorts of things. So this happened to be a period when it rained and rained and rained and rained, and the clouds would not stop putting rain on the earth. The clouds rained for days and days and days and days and days. And finally, the sun tried to get out. So the sun could not seem to break through all these clouds that were raining and raining. So the sun came to the school, and of course we can get lots of help at schools, as you know, came to the school and asked if the children could help. So it was first thing in the morning, because the sun is quite early, and the black and the white colored were not there yet. So the other children were all, the colors were, they weren't really children, they were just color beams. But anyway, they weren't there yet, but the other children were there. The red and the orange and the yellow and the green, the blue, the indigo and violet were all there. So they said sure, they'd help the sun. So whoever was in charge at that time of the planets and wherever these guys were, this is a story, they said sure, off you go. So they took them to the sun, and they accompanied the sun across the sky. And apparently there were just enough colors to add a little extra to the sun, and the sun was able to burst through, and the first rainbow was made, because the sun shone through the rain quite low, and the colors, the red, the orange, the yellow, the green, the blue, the indigo and the violet were all seen, and people were just in awe, and everything in the heavens was in awe, because the colors were so beautiful. When the color black and the color white arrived, a little late, they missed it. So they wondered where everyone was, but they were very forgiving. Their teacher said, look, you were late, you missed things, this happens. And they didn't resent it at all. They were really great. And now they are still very, very important colors, because if you do any painting and you want to make a pink, you add some white to your red, or if you want to make a gray, you put white and black together, or if you want to make a darker color, you add a little black to it. So all the colors are important, but the colors that made it in the rainbow are still the colors that we see. And I have a lovely colored cloth here, and it catches the sun. It's got blue and green, and I don't know if you can see all the colors or not, but it's very rainbowy. So our talk is about the rainbow. We're going to make some things relating to rainbow. So when we have different rotations, sometimes we have cooking, sometimes we have crafts, singing, we've had yoga, we've had movies, we're having science today. So I'm not a great scientist, but I'm going to do my best. I've got some ingredients and some really weird things in there, and we're going to make some various things. So rainbow is God's promise. We have to know what a promise means too. And I'd like us, when we think of rainbows, to think of promises. And we're going to talk about more about what we can promise to the earth and to each other, and how important it is to keep our word and to keep a promise.